What's up, people? In this video, who asked me to do this? Shama Puranik, can you make a video about the hot person prerogative that you sometimes mention? I've never thought of myself as hot, so I have a hard time understanding what you're talking about sometimes. Like, do hot people genuinely think of themselves in a higher way, like they're more deserving? Thanks. And I didn't really understand what she meant. I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, in your Mariah Vitoria video around the 30-minute mark, you mentioned she isn't ready to accept success. That's part of it, I guess. Okay, so I had to figure this out, and I found what she was talking about. And I guess let's just watch a little bit of my first popular reaction video. Why not? So we can kind of get that. Oh my god, I was so much thinner back then. I miss Thailand. I need to go back to Thailand, and I almost don't want to play this because I'm so much paler and my face is fatter. Anyway, let's go back to, I guess we'll watch this. I don't want to bore anybody, but I guess we'll go to let's say 30 minutes is what she said, because right here where I paused it is where I start talking about it. But again, this is a good example, and she's very nice. I don't want to attack her character or anything like that, but this is a good example of somebody who just doesn't have the stomach, no pun intended, doesn't have the stomach for assuming a certain level of success, a certain level of greatness, as in regards to her personal health and physical beauty. Okay, she's just not ready for it. Maybe she will be in the future. All right, so you guys get the idea. Basically, if you haven't watched this video, I think I'll link to it in the what's it called, in the description. But basically, this girl, for those who don't know, Mariah Vitoria, she fasted for 54 days. I sound like her in all her videos. Anyway, she fasted for 54 days and lost a ton of weight, did the snake diet a little bit, and after that, she didn't like what the results were, ended up gaining all the weight back, and she makes a lot of videos about her experience fasting. She's really milking the whole fasting thing. Again, I don't mean that in a negative way, props, respect, do what you got to do on YouTube to make it. But that's just a little bit of background. And I reacted to this video and gave basically my opinion in a very polite, very professional way. I was so calm back then. Yeah, and that's basically what happened. So okay, so let's talk about this hot person prerogative. I don't think that's not really an accurate statement about what I'm talking about. Okay, what I'm saying, just oh, that's beautiful. Hold on. I need a more efficient way of doing this. Okay, so really what I was talking about on this video is the fear of success, right? I'm not sure if you guys have heard of fear of success, but it's kind of the opposite of fear of failure, right? Fear of failure, everybody knows what that is. You're scared to try something because you're worried that you're going to fail, people are going to make fun of you, you're going to get all of this negative feedback from people, and the rationale as far as why we have this very visceral reaction to trying new things and kind of not wanting to do it is because they say that back in the day we lived in tribes, and if you tried something and failed, everybody would laugh at you and you get ostracized and kicked out of the tribe and you would die. Something like that. We evolved biologically to have that fear, something like that, right? So fear of success is kind of counterintuitive, because you would think, if human beings were rational, that we would always kind of want to be upwardly mobile, and we would have absolutely no mental bullshit, for lack of a better explanation. We'd have no mental bullshit that would want to keep us in our own misery, right? But if you listen to a lot of personal development stuff, they say that your brain, this is a common concept that I've heard a few times, right? Your brain will do whatever you ask it to, but it doesn't change. Okay, so one analogy that I heard that made a lot of sense is that when you try to do something new, okay, it's like you're in a plane and you're going to take off, right? You're the pilot of a plane, and you have a manual that will teach you exactly how to fly the plane, but your brain has the manual and it won't give you the manual, even though you're in the plane and you want to fly it. Right. So what you actually have to do is you have to just throw yourself into the situation. And once you throw yourself into the situation, the brain will actually give you the manual. Be like, okay. Like once you basically say, like, I'm going to fly this plane no matter what, you either give me the manual or we both die right now. The brain will be like, okay, dude, like, don't be, irrational. Like, here, take the manual, fly the plane. Okay. So it's kind of the same thing in regards to like fear of success and pushing your comfort zone and actually doing something that you have this sort of like initial resistance to actually doing. In this video specifically, I was talking about her fear of success as is related to, let's say, being like going from the chubby girl, right? Again, like no hate towards Mariah Vitoria, like at all, blah blah blah. Like, just don't be a dick. Going from like the chubby girl to like the hot girl with a smoking body, right? I haven't actually seen what she looks like body wise, I don't think. But she has a pretty face, and she seems like one of these girls who I would think to say about her, if she lost 20 pounds, she'd be smoking hot, right? If she went got to the gym, like started working out and whatever, lost a little bit of weight, she'd be hot. Like she seems like she's got some curves, right? She doesn't seem like a stick. Not aside from maybe carrying a couple extra pounds, right? So I think that I could be totally wrong because I don't have this problem, but this is just something that I sensed in her when I did this. And if she has it, then I think it's possible that other people have it as well, right? If you've always been the chubby kid or the fat kid, you're used to your lifestyle kind of falling into place in a certain way, where if all of a sudden you like rise a couple points in the attractiveness scale, that's going to kind of give you a lot more responsibility. Not necessarily responsibility, but there's going to be a lot more eyes on you everywhere you go, right? I'm not saying like I'm the most attractive person in the world and like, oh my God, like everyone's throwing themselves at me and like staring at me everywhere I go. However, like bottom line, if you exercise and you're fit and you're dedicated to some sort of like working out, you are automatically going to be more attractive than everybody else, because that's a very that's like an easy way to raise your attractiveness, because humans are biologically wired to be attracted to like physical strength, and because it's a sign of health is the argument, right? So this is not so much like, what did this person say here? Hot person prerogative. Do hot people genuinely think of themselves in a higher way, like they're more deserving? No, that's not what it is. It has more to do with your identity and who you are, right? Like a simple example that's popped into my mind many times is that when I first got out of the army, and I ended up moving, I left Israel and then I ended up moving back, right? I was living in Tel Aviv, and at the time, you had all kinds of jobs that you could get, but if you were an English speaker, if you were bilingual and you were living in Tel Aviv and you spoke English, it was somewhat less common then than it is now. The like average salary that you would kind of expect to receive would be around 7,000 shekels a month, okay? Maybe 8,000, maybe 6.5, whatever it is. But you just kind of expected, like you looked for jobs that would pay you that much, right? You wouldn't go work at AM, PM and make minimum wage. You wouldn't like take a job at a restaurant that wasn't a high-end restaurant, because you just kind of had this identity as somebody who would receive that much money for their time. So that's what you naturally gravitated to, okay? Because that's just how your identity was, right? If you don't have a strong enough, like this in this example specifically, she did not have the identity of an attractive person, right? She was not like, I'm putting words in her mouth, fine. She was not like, I always knew that like I shouldn't carry this weight, and like there's this like beautiful person in me like waiting to get out. I've never heard her say that, maybe she has. But like that's not what she says. This is very clear. I fasted for 54 days and then I stopped fasting, and here's what happened to me. The event is separate from her identity, right? It's like I participated in this activity for a certain amount of time and then stopped, and here are the changes that I experienced to my body or whatever. That's one way of phrasing it. Another way, an arguably like more beneficial way of phrasing it would be, I decided that I am not fat. I don't want to be fat anymore. I want to be fit and in shape. So I decided to fast, and it got me off on the right start to begin my fitness journey, or to like to really, get the weight off and keep it off forever, something like that. That's what we call, like, that would be like an identity level change, right? Another example, let's just say, I don't know, like, here's another one, right? This just popped into my head. Let's say that it really just comes down to what you expect from yourself, right? You will get whatever you expect to get because you'll naturally gravitate towards that. Another story about, like, when I first moved to Israel, I knew that there was this girl, her name was Michelle, she's from South Africa, and she was off her fucking rocker, dude. This girl was nuts, man. And we all kind of, like, they threw a bunch of new immigrants together on a kibbutz, and they're like, here, everyone just moved to Israel, and they're like, here, you can learn Hebrew, you can, like, get situated, figure out what you want to do while you're here, and just kind of take advantage of this environment to learn the language and just get used to the country because it's probably different than where you're from. So this girl, she was I don't want to say she was insane, but, like, she was the type of girl, she always needed a lot of attention, always talked about herself, and was just a very self-centered, conceited person who was just, like, needed all the attention to be on her all the time. As a result, she immediately upon, like, moving there, she, like, went and, like, walked around the city by herself and immediately found a sugar daddy, like, immediately, right? I remember she pulled up, I didn't actually see this, but somebody told me that she pulled up to the entrance of the kibbutz and she was in, like, a red convertible, and those types of cars were not common. They're still not really common in Israel. Like, you'd be lucky if you get a shitbox on wheels over there. But she pulled up, like, in this, like, red convertible with some, like, 60-year-old man, and, like, gave him a kiss on the cheek and, like, left. And she didn't know this person ahead of time. Like, she didn't coordinate with him before she moved there. But that's just what she expected. That's what she felt like she deserved. So, law of attraction, The Secret type of thing. It's not that the universe actually sent that to her. It's just that her brain, let's call it, filtered all of her options until she found that one. And then because she was used to that, because that was what her identity was like, she naturally gravitated towards that. And he was also probably, like, had that frame of mind in his mind. So the two of them just kind of connected and they fit together like a puzzle, right? Like, he was looking for a sugar baby, she was looking for a sugar daddy. Maybe if they didn't actually explicitly think that or state that in their mind, that's just what they were used to and that's what they'd done before because that's what their identity was like. So that's what brought them together. Now, how do we relate this to, like, the hot person prerogative? Like, for example, let's say, and any fit people out there will understand this probably more than people who are not fit. Myself, for example, if I, like, right now, you saw the difference in my face now, in my skin color, and, like, you can tell, maybe, I don't know, that when I shot this video, I was in much better shape. Right now, like, my face is a little bit fatter, I'm a little bit paler, like, it is what it is. Like, I just spent a month and a half working. I don't think I worked out at all in that month and a half, maybe, like, a little bit here and there, but nothing even close to what I was doing here in Thailand, which was, like, running 7 miles and, like, training at a gym for an hour. It's way more than I'm doing now. But the reason that I did that back then is because that's, like, the work that I did was because I believed and still believe that my identity is somebody that has the type of body that work will produce, right? Now, when I look at myself, even when I record videos and, like, I'll rewatch the video, I'm like, damn, I look kind of like shit, right? Like, my face is, like, puffy and bloated or just fatter. I look at myself in the mirror without my shirt on, I'm like, man, I look awful. Where to other people, I might not look so bad, right? But because my identity is one of somebody who has a lower body fat percentage, has more muscle mass, just looks better overall, it's making me feel uncomfortable enough to push me towards that, like, to push me back towards baseline, if that makes sense. And other fit people out there, like, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a fairly common mindset or attitude towards actually exercising. So if you don't, that's the easiest way to, like, push yourself towards actually working out, right? Is where you have this idea of, like, I deserve this, really is really what it is. Not necessarily I deserve it, but this is my identity and that's kind of what I want. Another example, right? So anyway, that's the point. Does that make sense? And if you have a fear of that, if you have a fear of success, is it really that you have a fear of that, or is it that you just are not used to the work, I guess, that's required for you to do that. Because like when I was in Thailand, when I did this video, that's a lot of work. Like that was a good 3 hours of my day that I had to spend. That was not pleasurable in the same sense that like eating chocolate is pleasurable, right? Like I had to go outside. It was hot. I was like running down the street. Sometimes my knees hurt. Sometimes my legs hurt. And I ran all the way to the gym and I would work out and I would run all the way back. And it was not like, it's not easy to do that. You know, you have to like pay attention everywhere and not get run over by fucking crazy Thai drivers. It was hard. It was not easy, you know, but the fact that like I believed I was the type of person, or I had the type of body of somebody who would do those things, that's the path that led me to do that. Okay, so like, did that answer your question? I'm not really sure. Isn't ready to accept success. It's not so much that you're not ready to accept success. It's that you're not, the work that you think is required to achieve what you consider to be success does not seem to be worth it to you compared to what you're doing now to achieve whatever result you have now. Okay, so like that's really what it is. It's like, what you have now, is that really so bad for you? If you're not in shape and you've never been in shape, like probably not. For me, I don't like I don't like my current state, right? Like I'm totally fine admitting that. I don't like it, and it causes me to proactively try to change that until I get back to where I was. You know, really what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to achieve what I had back when I was like 27, you know, which is another video entirely, but I was living a very specific type of lifestyle. I had a bicycle. I had a fucking like 70-pound kettlebell that I was working out with all the time. I was jacked. It was like my peak, you know, and that's really the identity of the type of person that I have, which is why I'm kind of never satisfied with how I look now, because I know in my mind that I've actually achieved much more. Okay, so again, Shama Puranik, what did you say here? Like, I've never thought of myself as hot, so I have a hard time understanding what you're talking about. My advice to you or to anybody else would be to start thinking of yourself as hot, right? Like maybe not as you are now. This is not, you know, girl, you're perfect the way you are. Like, love your body. Like, your fat rolls are totally fine. That's not what I'm saying. Like, you should think of yourself as an attractive person, okay? But if you're not attractive right now, that disconnect should make you feel extremely uncomfortable, and that discomfort should push you to where you want to be. Another example, right? I actually believe, like I really do, you know, I actually believe that someday I will have 1 million subscribers and I'm not getting enough attention on YouTube. I actually believe that. Like, I don't, maybe I'm wrong, like whatever, am I, you know, a jackass or something? Maybe. But I actually believe that what I have to say is important enough that enough people will gain benefit from hearing it. And I deserve way more than, what do I have now, 2,800 subscribers? It's like a joke. Are you kidding me? And when I see that number, even though to some people that number might be impressive, whatever, to me, that number like makes me irritated. Like, it's not high enough. You know what I mean? So I fucking make a ton of videos. I answer everybody's comments all the time. Like, I'm very proactive in getting shit done because I'm way behind the way that I see it. So if you're, you know, to put this towards like fitness, you basically have to be disgusted with yourself is really what it is. Like, you have to kind of hate the way you look, and that like intense pain will push you hopefully into performing the correct activities to change your body. Okay, I'm not saying surgery. I'm not saying like starve yourself and eat fucking leaves and berries. I'm saying like choose the right activities, right? That's maybe another video for another time. But like that discomfort is what is going to light the fire under your ass. I'm sure you've heard that before, to actually get some shit done. Okay, so Shama Purinik, hopefully that was helpful for you. If you guys have any other questions about my like random ass philosophies on things, let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.